Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for clicking on this Smashy Smashy Eggman bonus review. So last night I went and saw um, the Halloween classic Trick or Treat on the big screen. I didn't record the video last night because it was like midnight by the time I got home, and I was very tired and have had to work the next day. I'm actually just woke up within the last half an hour, and I'm filming this because I got a little bit of time before I have to finish getting ready for work. Um, so yeah, Trick or Treat. I actually remembered to grab the case of the movie I saw in theaters that I own. This is a weird one. This falls in the same category as when I went and saw G.I. Joe, the movie, earlier this year, um, because this did not get a theatrical release when it came out. It had such a troubled production that, and the trouble wasn't even like Michael Dougherty or the cast or anything like that. Like the movie, they made the movie pretty easily, and it came together and they had a movie. The problem was the distributors of this movie, Warner Brothers, didn't want to release it, and they didn't want to release it for a long time. They kept pushing it back. They put trailers in front of movies, like there was a time where you would buy like Warner Brothers DVDs and you'd have a trailer for Trick or Treat, but Trick or Treat never actually came out. Eventually, they just dumped it direct to video, and it became one of the it became a cult classic. People love this movie for good reason. It's a great movie, and yeah, I really like it. So getting the opportunity to see it on the big screen, like which was an opportunity not afforded to me back in 2007 when it came out, because this is a movie I was interested when I saw the trailers. I was like, what the hell is this? I want to see this. Um, so this allows me to actually get to see it. This is the third Michael Dougherty theatrical film I've seen in theaters, as I've also seen Krampus and Godzilla King of the Monsters. I'm not sure how many other theatrical movies he has. I feel like there's one more and I haven't seen it, but generally Michael Dougherty, I will go see his movies in theaters. Obviously, this is his first movie. Trick or treat. Yeah, because I've been watching the Halloween movies, my brain just wants to bust rhymes this title. So, why? Why is this classic? Especially for a movie that the studio didn't think was going to make money and then got dumped direct to video. And it might not have. They might have been very right. It might not have made money. Um, it might have been a financial loss for them had they put it in theaters, just because it is such a horror is such a niche category to begin with, and then discerning good from bad, just because there is so much, and everyone's taste strongly differs when it comes to horror. So good to bad is very very different. So it's hard to figure out what horror works and what horror doesn't. This horror works, and it works for a lot of people. Basically, Trick or Treat, one, it's an hour and 20 minutes. So again, it's a nice short movie, but it's got a great amount of stuff in it, because it just tries to tell its story. And its story is about Halloween. You have Sam, short for Sam Hain. He is kind of the spirit of Halloween. He enforces tradition. And this year he's enforcing it in a small town in Ohio. There are 5 stories to this movie because it's an anthology film, but all the stories are connected, that they are taking place in the same town on the same night and within like the same time. Like the movie is told out of order, so I'm pretty sure the earliest it starts is like 7 p.m., but it goes only until like 10 or 11. I don't think it goes much later because the latest portion, there are still trick-or-treaters out. But it definitely has to go to at least 10. Maybe 9. It might actually be 9. I can't imagine the events of this movie taking place in the span of like 2 hours, but they might. Michael Dougherty might have them. I think 3 hours for one of these is actually pushing it still. So I'm gonna try to tell this. I'm gonna try to cover them in order, but they do intercut. So you get a little of one story, and then it cuts to the other story. Really only two of the segments, not technically, just one segment is really by itself, and that's the ending segment. The rest all do have a little interspersed, but eventually you hit and you just follow one segment for a period of time. Once it like really ramps up, generally it's the openings and the build of the segments are working in tandem with the other pieces of the puzzle. So the movie opens. We have we have a couple returning home. They have been out drinking and partying because the town has a giant Halloween party every year. They have a festival and a parade, and they're coming home from it. The wife, who I think is Leslie Mann, I'm pretty sure it's Leslie Mann plays the wife. It's a recognizable. You recognize the actress, even though when she shot this film, nobody knew who the hell she was. She wants to blow up the pumpkin candle, the candle in their pumpkin. Her husband replies, "Oh, don't! You can't. You have to leave it lit. Otherwise, bad things happen." She scoffs at him, and you can see there is somebody watching from across the street. She blows out the candle and then decides to, again, we're talking between 10 and 11 o'clock at night. And she's admitted that they are both tipsy. She wants to take down all the Halloween decorations because her mother's coming the next day. And for a woman who then immediately says she hates Halloween, there's a lot of effort into this yard. So either her husband really loves the yard and loves Halloween, but is a douche and doesn't want to help, but is tired. I mean, he's tired and tipsy, but a douche still. But she's gonna go take down the decorations. He just wants to, have a Halloween sex party. And she tells him, "No, I'll clean up and then put on the tape." The tape is marked Nature Special. It's porn. Who would have guessed? Porn. While she's taking down the decorations, she's eventually attacked by the figure that was watching, and her husband wakes up well after the porno is done. So this last piece probably takes place after midnight. But again, this is the beginning of the movie. Is technically the end of the story. This is the end of the story, but we're getting it at the beginning of the movie. He goes outside, begins to look for his wife, and eventually finds her on they have ghosts, so they have crosses, that's what they are, with sheets over them to make them look like ghosts. He removes one of them, and he finds his wife's head and other body parts, but it's not fully her. And then we go to our opening credits. The first story we get in full, because again we're interspersing these stories, is that of Mr. Wilkins, played by Dylan Baker. Dylan Baker, he's the school principal, I believe, and he is he's getting ready for Halloween. He wants to carve his pumpkin. He's bought a new sharp knife to carve his pumpkin. A school bully played by, I don't know the actor's name, but he is the kid from Bad Santa. The main kid shows up, and Mr. Wilkins is talking to him about the Halloween traditions and why we do things and where they come from. And that one of the traditions is check your candy, as the child begins vomiting lots of chocolate. It's a gross vomit scene. Great, but a gross vomit scene. Wilkins then takes the boy inside and goes to bury the body. His neighbor interrupts him. Also, another body he is burying isn't dead. He takes care of all of that, while at the same time his son is also annoying him, asking him questions about the parade and going with Daddy, but Daddy has a date, which is the time inconsistency I'm not a fan of. Daddy has a date, and that they'll carve a jack-o'-lantern once he's done in the yard. He buries the two corpses, goes inside, and goes to help his child carve a jack-o'-lantern. It's a very wholesome moment. It's not freaky or scary or a weird thing at all. It is. Our second story revolves around a group of kids who are collecting pumpkins. They are going to honor the spirits of a Halloween massacre that occurred when a bus of special needs children were driven into a quarry by a bus driver. They're also going to talk to a idiot savant who's also one of the kids who's very good at carving pumpkins because they need 8 pumpkins, and she's got a yard full of pumpkins, which is really identical to a different yard full of pumpkins that happened earlier in the night, so I'm not 100% sure if it's the same yard full of pumpkins or not. I don't think Michael Dougherty is fully aware. Anyways, she helps them out because one of the kids is a boy, and the boy is cute, and, she's enamored with the boy, which kind of pisses off the lead girl, who's actually from the show Dead Like Me, which is a great show. Pisses off the lead girl because she clearly is also into this guy, and they decide to pull a prank when they're at the quarry to scare her and one of the other friends, but it turns out that there isn't a prank. The ghosts of the 8 dead children rise from the quarry and attack the remaining kids, leaving the idiot savant Rhonda alone in the elevator with lit pumpkins, which fends off evil spirits, and the key. And Rhonda goes home. Again, this is only an hour and 20-minute movie, so these stories aren't super long or complex. You can make them more complex the more you go into them and their nuances, which is why you need to watch this movie. Third story, maybe there's only 4. I thought there were 5. I thought it was 4 plus the opening. Oh, no. Opening. Yeah, this is the 4th story. Sorry. It's about a group of girls. One of them is played by Anna Paquin, so Rogue from the X-Men series. She is a virgin who is looking to score for the first time. And she's required to dress as Little Red Riding Hood, as the others are dressed as sexy Snow White, sexy Cinderella, and sexy Mary from Mary Had a Little Lamb. They each have to find a boyfriend for that night, or a date for that night. The 3 more experienced ones find them. She doesn't. She decides to meet them at the party they're going to once she has found someone. This is also met with a man in a dark mask who is draining the blood out of a woman with fangs. He begins to stalk Little Red Riding Hood. Eventually he attacks her, but at the party you find out that there is more to Little Red Riding Hood than you expected. Again, I don't want to give everything away, but there's a lot of unexpected stuff in that story. It's fun. The final story is about Mr. Krieg, who is an old man, hates Halloween, scares kids with his dog. He is tormented by Sam because he doesn't like Halloween. And it's a great fight scene. Like, this is the longest segment of the movie, I'm pretty sure. It's a great fight scene. You get to see, like, if you notice Sam has a mask on, you get to see him take off the mask, which is really cool. And just the way the conclusion to it all is great. I love Trick or Treat. It is a great movie. If you've never seen it, check it out. If you aren't really big into horror, if you're all about jump scares, like, ooh, maybe not. I mean, there's not a lot of gore. Once you get past the boy vomiting at the top of the movie, there isn't a lot of horrific things throughout the rest of the runtime. It is just very well done. It's a great movie. I really enjoyed Trick or Treat. It's a Halloween classic, and I enjoyed getting to see it on the big screen. And it was actually for a Thursday night at 9:30. It was actually a very well seated theater. Like, there was a lot of people there. I was very surprised because when I saw Invasion of the Body Snatchers on Sunday, which was a 7 o'clock showing, there was like a dozen people in that theater. Trick or Treat on a Thursday night at 9:30, there's like 30 plus people. The theater was very well sold. I got lucky. I got to put some distance because the seat I bought looked like it was supposed to be against a wall, and there were actually 3 other seats next to it. So I got to move over and put a little space between me and the other people in this theater. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun going to see Trick or Treat on the big screen. I really enjoyed it. If you've never seen Trick or Treat, check it out. It is definitely a Halloween classic. All right, I'm Martin Prevost. This is Smashy Smashy Eggman. Movie reviews and more. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will talk at you later. Have a good one.